Welcome to the HR Empowerment Podcast, where we will uncover strategies and new insights from HR professionals who discuss up-to-date regulations, best practices, and the most pressing topics like diversity and equity, leadership, dealing with difficult situations, and much more that affect your bottom line and business. Thanks for joining us.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Wendy Sellers, the HR lady. We are here in episode 5 of our series on supporting employee well-being and why therapy benefits matter. I want to really talk about, how they actually drive long-term business success. So welcome back, JC.
And welcome to you. Aloha. Welcome to the Friday episode.
Absolutely. And Lindsay Karnick from Onward Psychological Services, who's just giving us amazing advice and a lot of aha moments and a lot of listening to us. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, Wendy. Hi, JC.
Hey, before we jump into the topic at hand, what was that book that you mentioned?
Search Inside Yourself, The Unexpected Path to Achieving Success, Happiness, and World Peace by Chade-Meng Tan.
In between one of our breaks, JC looked up some information or shared some information about what he has once quoted possibly in that book. And it says, when the mind is unagitated, when the mind is calm, that mind is most conducive to creative problem solving. I think that pretty much sums it all up.
Truly.
It is funny. If you go on vacation, you usually come back more creative, right? Or you just take a day off. You're thinking, I'm going to miss all this work. And then you come back with all these ideas, maybe because you helped your mind calm down.
Yes.
Food for thought there.
I used to know somebody who used to sing the praises, not just of vacation time, but what she called idle time, intentional idle time. Her theory, and I love this, and I found it to be true, is that we can still busy ourselves in our minds with fun things or vacation things. When we're on holiday, we are not necessarily giving ourselves enough mental space to have new ideas. That it requires a certain spaciousness, a certain blank canvas to allow room for new things. And if we are perpetually filling that space, whether it's with vacation-y things or regular-y things or normally worky things, whatever the things are, we don't have enough blank canvas for anything new to show up. And she was a big proponent of kind of sit under an apple tree with no book, no nothing, no stick to draw in the sand with, and have some idle time and just see what crawls in there. I mean, she wasn't just talking about ants crawling into your shoe. She was talking about ideas into the mind.
Well, it's kind of funny you bring up the stick, though, too, because allegedly in Colorado, boomerangs are just sticks. So that's fine. It's neither here nor there.
You know what? This all brings it together, though, talking about how therapy, and including vacation and mindfulness and maybe not having your mind overwhelmed, how this all really does in the end support long-term business success. And so JC has some stats he wants to share with us about this.
Investing in therapy and EAP services drives measurable business success. Companies with robust mental health programs experience a 21% increase in productivity and a 24% improvement in employee retention. And ultimately, for the company, this leads to long-term profitability and a healthier workplace culture. Back to you.
Wow, those are pretty remarkable statistics. 21% increase in productivity. I think most of us as business owners would be happy with a 10%, never mind a 21%, right? So the cost of having the therapy program or just providing time off so somebody can get the therapy, maybe if you're paying for it or not, that's a different decision there. But talk to us about that, Lindsay.
I think the thing that stands out the most to me, and we touched on this a little before again, is how good it feels to people when they sense that their organization is at least somewhat invested in them as people, and allowing people the space to self-determine what's important to them goes so far. And I think it's very important that we don't treat this as a Machiavellian, treat your people well and so they'll stay forever. Therefore, that's why you should do it kind of a thing, right? This is not a strategy of manipulation. But I can think to the times in my life where I've worked for organizations, or really specifically managers, who were open to supporting me in my individual needs and taking care of those individual needs. And I have never felt more loyal to anybody than those people. There's no amount of salary, there's no amount of other benefits that can make up for that sense that this person is in my corner, in the sense that they trust me to say, this is what I need now. And they go, yeah, go do it. Yeah, take care of yourself. Yes, that's important for you. That matters to you. That matters to your family. Have at.
It's itching inside my mind as you say that, because it brings up the thought of something. And it doesn't matter if it's a new leader, an old leader, or a leader that's somewhere in between. Even if they provide you that autonomy, and even if you have that opportunity to help command and self-control your destiny and future, if they break trust to a degree, in the simplest form of even just moving that goalpost, playing the old carrot on a stick game, the perception within the organization changes. Your perception of that leader changes. Your perception of the situation, even though it might be holistically beneficial, changes due to the style of the person that might be leading it. From my perception, what do you think about that?
Oh, I think that's absolutely true. I think that when you unintentionally even betray someone's sense that you are reliable and in their corner, that's very difficult for them to recover from. And I would say that people who leave don't usually decide to leave immediately. The leaving usually happens way back, and then they get around to leaving down the line. But the injury that precipitates that decision may have been 4 months ago, 6 months ago. At some point, something happened and they lost faith in whatever it was they had, or whoever it was they had faith in. And that could have been just one person. I think that's very important to remember. I can certainly think of people in my life who I know would stay at organizations because of one person. And they said, that's enough, right? Like, this person is who I want to work for, and I like their way of showing up in the world, and I like their way of doing business, and I like their values, and they act in accordance with their values. And the first time that goes by the wayside, then it's over, even if it's not over.
This is absolutely so much more, though. If I may, Wendy, it seems to be so much more than just offering services within an organization or promoting the service. We're talking about, in certain situations, potentially changing culture, or rather, even monitoring the culture and the heartbeat and the lifeblood of the organization to keep it on track in a way.
Yes. And I think the discussion about mental health benefits is really interesting. Imagine for a second, if you would, and we'd have to do, this is a little bit of a thought experiment, so we can just talk about it in purely hypothetical terms. If you offer somebody a mental health benefit, but create an environment in which they feel bad about using it, or they feel that they're going to suffer some kind of blowback or consequence of some sort, whatever that is, then you're not really offering them that benefit. It's become transactional. You are offering them a transaction in which you get something because they got something. And that's not a good feeling. Transactional is not a good feeling. And look, we can be honest that no matter how much you love your jobs, for the most part, it's not a religious experience. That's volunteer work, right? Careers and jobs have some transactional qualities, and that's just fine. That's why they call it a job and not volunteering. Right. And also, if you are looking to promote a certain kind of culture where people will go above and beyond, which is not transactional, then they have to have a sense that you're not going to be transactional with them. And if you get transactional about things like, you said you were going to be gone for an hour to your appointment and you were gone an hour and a half, and you start to become punitive about this thing that you said you offered, it will mean nothing. You don't get to later come back around and say, like, but I offered you an EAP benefit, or I offered you, what's the problem? You didn't. What you did was offer a structure that was painful to use for someone. Ergo, it's not a benefit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, to basically sum up this entire podcast series, improving employee well-being enhances performance and retention, which is costly. So that's one thing. If your owners or powers that be are like, no, we don't really care about employees, which I hope they wouldn't say that out loud. Show them the money. Show them the money. It's factual that providing EAP therapy services or even just the directory and time off to receive those services leads to a healthier business bottom line. So I encourage all HR professionals, managers, and business owners to please, from this day on, prioritize employee mental health as part of your overall strategy for sustainable success. With that said, Lindsay, how can our listeners connect with you?
They can find me on the web, on my website, which is onwardpsychservices.com. That's onwardpsych, PSYCH services.com. They can find me on LinkedIn. Check this out. They can call me on the phone. I have a phone. It has a number that you can pick it up and dial. Isn't that crazy? Those are my calls. And they can sure call me at 720-362-8164. I probably won't answer, but I'll call them back. And they can find me on Instagram. Every Wednesday, I publish a video that's a practical, tactical coping skill. That's one of my great delights, is publishing those videos on Wednesday. So I certainly hope you guys will all find me on Instagram and let me know which ones of those practical, tactical coping skills will resonate and is helpful in what you're dealing with on a daily basis.
Thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. This has been a complete joy. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I know JC does too. Thanks for listening, everybody, to the series on supporting employee well-being, why therapy benefits matter. We hope this information has been helpful. I know it has been. Thanks for joining us, and take care.
Thank you for joining the HR Empowerment Podcast, brought to you by Aurora Training Advantage. We hope you've gained new insight and strategies to navigate the HR profession. We look forward to you joining us again on the HR Empowerment Podcast.